Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about 3%, which is the new show from Netflix that launched today. We're going to talk about episode 1, of course, from season 1. It's called Chapter 1 Cubes. We will start spoiler free, because obviously you might want to get a sense if it's something you might want to be watching. Obviously, we usually go full spoilers right from the get go, but episode 1's we'll go a little bit spoiler free for a little while and tell you how it is. So the premise of this is that we're in a sort of future dystopian world where there is the rich area called the offshore, where people get to live a nice luxurious life, where there's no crime, there's no violence, that kind of thing. The rest of the world has to live. I can't remember if there's a name for it, but just everywhere else. um,
Yeah, I'm not sure
the
there's an name because they just
slums, yeah,
yeah, they kind of refer to it as us and them a lot of it, like
yeah,
our and their,
yeah. Uh, So the show really is about this process that when everyone turns 20 in the poor areas, they have a chance to go through a process where they could be selected to move to the offshore, but only 3% of the people who apply or go through the process will actually make it. So that's kind of what the main focus of the show is. It's this process of all these 20-year-olds trying to get through. Um, so yeah, it's pretty good.
It is definitely.
In short, episode 1 is pretty good. Uh, it's not super original. Like, I feel like, I've seen a lot of these ideas before. Hell, even incorporated a few weeks ago on Sci-Fi. A lot of similar themes here or there.
Yep, definitely.
This looks gorgeous, though. It comes from the same cinematographer as not Children of Men, City of God. Yeah,
Right.
mixing my movies up. Which is also from Brazil. Which this is. This is all in Portuguese with English subtitles. There is a dubbed English track if you so wish
I,
it.
I accidentally had it on for the first line because Netflix auto selected English for some reason.
And you're back
It's
to Wayne horror.
atrocious.
Yeah,
It is awful.
yeah. So I highly recommend watching it with the original language with some subtitles. But the first episode is mainly the first part of this process. We're introduced to sort of our core characters and some of the other things that are going on. So as much as it is mainly the process, there is some larger world things going on as well, which we kind of get a sense of. The idea that in the poor areas, which is most of the planet, is at least most of the country. I don't know. I don't think they ever actually specify if this is the entire world, if it's just Brazil.
They don't specify.
Yeah,
I'm inclined to think maybe just Brazil because the offshore
it's just one island.
implies
Yeah.
one island. Yeah.
Yeah, because you even see it in a map at one point, and it is just like this one sort of island, which would make sense. It's
Yeah.
just for this one country. But you get a sense that there's like an uprising in the poor areas where there's like a terrorist group almost against the rich segment of society.
Yeah.
So it does a little bit of world building like that, and we get a sense of these different characters and sort of the dynamics of the different tests they go through. We see them being interviewed. We see them getting given like a sort of not a geometry test. I'll call it.
Yeah, it's more just puzzle tests, to
Yeah.
test.
Well, so far we'll see what
Yeah,
crops up.
that one was a puzzle test.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it's a puzzle test. Yeah, I was going to call it a math test, but it's not. I mean, it's on the fringe of math, but it's not really.
Yeah,
Yeah. But now we get a sense of the main characters. A couple of them are quite memorable right off the gate. The guy Ezekiel who runs the whole process. He's like the president of this like testing facility. It's his job. He's quite a character right from the get go. He's got some sort of extreme views and the way he acts. Our main sort of character Michelle, who is the main one we are following through the process, like makes some friends, but we get a sense of her. We get a sense of other characters who are a bit more confrontational and that kind of thing. Even does a good job of setting up some characters who we think are going to be main characters, but by the end of the episode are definitely not main characters. So, yeah. Any other thoughts before we get into spoiler territory? Looks gorgeous, I guess.
it really does. Yeah, it's shot well. It's also the first thing I've managed to watch in 4K. Looks pretty good. Just put that out there
Connor bought a 4K TV like yesterday.
on a whim.
On a whim. Yeah, well, Black Friday deals. Let's be honest. There's a reason for it, but
Well, yeah, but I didn't like go out with the intention of getting one. I went
Yeah.
out and I came back with a TV. But no, it is really good looking. It's very engrossing. That right from the get go, it kind of introduces the ideas very solidly and clearly. You have a text intro just to set up things.
you get a text intro explaining basically what I did at the start of this review. I just gave you what the general world was, but what I really like about the start of it is it starts with, okay, we're following this character and we're starting like this day, like we're
Yeah.
doing this walk to this place, like what is going on, and it builds the little details as we go. But you get a sense of everyone's like the tension, the fear, like the excitement mixed with fear, that weird mix where it's like, oh, this could be my chance for it, happiness for the rest of my life, but the chance of me actually passing is so slow or so slim that I'm terrified of what I'm about to happen.
That's also, I was to say, the tension is fantastic. Even just moments like, how they're having like interviews and the puzzle, like there are these tests obviously for the process. They're nothing dangerous. There's nothing like, actively high stakes about them in that.
I mean, well, the interview's a little bit different because it's kind of like you don't really know what they're looking for in their answers. But the puzzle test, it's nothing more than like what you'd maybe do, like not even in high school, like in, like early school. It's
just making literally just making shapes.
Yeah, you've got a time limit. I mean, and you have to do as many as you can, so that makes it difficult. But it's not the actual core thing's not a difficult task.
Yeah, but you feel the tension in how it is because it helps there is a countdown clock and you can see the room getting darker as it kind of goes on, but it's very stylistically done that makes it feel tense.
Yeah, of course, the end of the episode does set up what will be the main core sort of plot of the season, which we can't talk about without spoilers, but it does neatly set up. Okay, this is what this show is really about, and this is, what the next 7 episodes are going to be. It's 8 episodes long, if you weren't aware. And we will be reviewing them over this weekend, and we should be done by sometime on Sunday, I imagine. So
I thought so.
So that's spoiler free. We're going to get some spoilers then. So if you've watched the episode, you can continue safely at this point. If you haven't watched the episode, go and give it a try. I mean, it's on Netflix. It's easy to watch because you probably have that.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth a try. If you're not someone who likes subtitles things, then I can't help you. But yeah, so spoilers from this point on. So, I do want to say that I kind of called what the ending was going to be.
Yeah.
Pretty early. Not when I say early, I don't mean like early in the episode, but as soon as they said there was one of two moles, like one of two people was a mole, I immediately knew where it was going.
I before that, even when you went, oh, there's a mole, it's like, right, okay.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, obviously it's going to be one of the characters we've met because that's what makes it interesting. But
I still felt like it was reasonably obvious which one then, just because. It was almost cliche.
Well, it just makes the most sense because she's the main character, so it just makes
that's what I mean.
Like we're going to be following her antics, so it makes sense for giving us tension and like watching her try to do things. It just makes sense that she'll be the one who's doing all these, all these activities. So, but for me, the reason why it clicked really clearly when it was like, okay, it's one of these two, and right from the start of the episode we see Michelle walking with her friend, like she comes from the same block, which by the way, that was a nice little detail I really liked when they ask them where they live, and she's like, oh, it's street number 17, apartment building 14, block 2 or whatever, I can't remember the numbers, but it was just a series of numbers, there was no names. I liked that. It made them feel like such just statistics, like they weren't people, they were part of
it's very indistinct, isn't it? It's like, it's just a row of numbers. That's all they are to this people.
But yeah, the reason the thing that clicked for me so great, and this is the thing. It's not because I was like, oh, this is boring because it's the obvious thing. For me, this is what was going to make it really fascinating. Was that she's going to make the other one get killed? Because we get presented with this situation where the head of security, the one who's like investigating, because one little tidbit is the first ever murder has happened on offshore. That's never happened before, and that's one of the plot points we get when Ezekiel's talking to his higher ups. There's been a murder on the offshore island, and like they're all panicking about it, which is really, I think that's really smart as well, because it starts off us with a sort of like, okay, so we're introduced to this world, but it's not business as normal. There's already something that's inciting a change, like. So
yeah, he's getting assessed on this, and that is a big thing, because obviously it's like when you're in school and your teachers get assessors, and suddenly everything is exactly by the book. There is absolutely... What are you talking
about? No. My teachers would get us to go up to the sink and dunk our heads in the water just to teach us a lesson. That's what happened to my school. I don't know about you, Carter.
I mean, we clearly went to very different schools.
I am joking, of course. But... So yeah, so as soon as they present us with this, and we see at the start of the episode they're friends, they walk together. We see her friend with her little sister, and she has this emotional goodbye with her little sister as they're going like past the point of like no return. So at the end of the episode, it's kind of like she's going to have to like get her killed to prove that she's not the mole, and then we're going to find out she's the mole. It actually let us know quicker than I thought it would. I thought it was going to wait until after she'd been killed.
Yeah.
But it actually started intercutting with the whole, say he's your boyfriend, but it was actually her brother, and pretend to be emotional, and she's been training to put on the right face for all these different, moments.
Yeah.
But, so I thought that was easily the most compelling thing they could have done, is to have her have to, sacrifice her friend to keep her cover. And I will still call her friend because she clearly is affected by it. As soon as she keeps a straight face as she's leaving, but as soon as she's left on her own, she breaks down.
Yeah, she's clearly not heartless about this. This was like a big deal. It was a good thing for her, clearly. Like, she felt she had to do it. But at the same time, she definitely would never have chosen to do that.
Yeah. She was just put in a corner because of this other. It's called the Cause. This group that are that have planted her are called the Cause. Which again, I really like how just because it's a cause, but usually you'd have a name, but it's just the Cause because it's that simple here, because it is just this us and them, mentality.
It's very black and white, this, which makes me wonder if by the end it will kind of become, it's shades of grey, and it's like, which is right.
Oh, I think it will be. I think the fact that even the rich people are now panicking because there's been a murder in their, utopia, that we'll see that effect, ripple throughout the season. We'll see. But interesting main story. I'm on board. Her trying to take them down, and she wants to kill Ezekiel, and she even gets close to him at the end when he sort of runs in, but she can't. There's a greater goal here. It's not just about revenge for your brother dying. Which, speaking of them dying, I want to talk about the candidate who is very enthusiastic, but gets kicked out at the first stage, the interview stage. And he's trying to beg his way back in, and he legit feels like he's going to be a main character. They give him enough time at the start of the episode where we get to know him as his attitude, his opinions, that when he is rejected, I was like, oh, that's surprising,
Yeah.
Because he felt like he was going to be a main character, at least for a while, because we were spending this much time on him, and then he commits suicide.
Yeah.
Really effective way of just, again, selling to us how, do or die this one, part of their life is, this process.
Yeah. I'll be honest, at first I questioned if it was suicide. Because when they all look up, there's someone walks away. I'm pretty sure you see someone walk away on the balcony.
Yeah, but it also just kind of plays as if he's just run up to look down, and then he's run off to
but
come down.
It took me a minute to question, did he just kill himself, or did someone do this?
I buy it's suicide.
I do as well, yeah. They established later on that it's okay, that's just it.
And I think for Michelle as well, it's a good, even further motivation. She sees what this is doing to more people, So, I think that works really well. Ezekiel is getting sort of monitored from someone, the offshore people have sent this woman, Eleni, or Alina? Yeah, Alina. Sorry, it's foreign names. We're going to struggle with these a little bit throughout.
It's a little bit harder as well, because obviously you hear them in the sentence, but you're only half listening to the language because you're reading the subtitles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so she's monitoring him, and we see him do this thing where he goes over to his sink, and he dunks his head until he's almost about to drown, and then he brings his head back up, and he does it later on to the woman who interviewed the one who committed suicide, and Alina's just kind of watching him what are you doing? Stop. And he brings her up at the last second. He's like, I do that every day to make sure I understand what's going on here. It's do or die, everything is life or death, and then she thanks him for it.
Yeah, that's... See, I get why she thanks him, because I thought the message at first, before he said it, was going to be no, look how lucky you are just to be alive and breathing. Be thankful you have this oxygen, essentially.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be why that she kind of came back and thanks him. She gets the idea. Yeah,
she gets that. I think just the idea that these candidates do this frequently, and for them it is life and death, and
yeah.
I mean the message was essentially just don't take it like this, because it's, of course it affects her. He went away and committed suicide. Although some of those interviewers were quite dickish during that interview process.
They were.
So you're gonna cry? Oh, don't cry.
Yeah.
But no, the other big plot point we really need to mention from the first episode is that of Raphael, who has a pirated sort of chip in his, because they have all these things put in their ears to So when the scanners scan them, it lets them know who they are, their registration, and he's faked it. And another character, Joanna, recognizes this and kind of is antagonistic towards him. But he gets through the scanners and he ends up cheating. He actually gets someone else kicked out during the puzzle stage by stealing one of their cubes. And he then gets himself beat up, and even Joanna recognizes this as him playing all the other contestants or the candidates, so that he'll get some sympathy. Even though at this point they all think he's a cheating scumbag and they all want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So I think that's another big plot point that's worth mentioning for this first episode, and we'll see how that progresses. The politics between the candidates.
Yeah, the other moment of that I really liked happened in the puzzle stage again. It's when Michelle helps the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, Fernando.
And then at the end he helps her back, and it's like, yeah, it's everyone for themselves, but clearly
alliances.
Yeah, I wonder if that's almost part of the process. Like you're supposed to think, no, you can get a better world if you end up working together rather than being individual.
Which is a solid message, actually.
It is.
So I appreciate that. Yeah, obviously Michelle and Fernando kind of bond a little bit. They help each other. And even at the end, when she comes back out from being taken away for this interrogation that results in the death of her friend, Fernando comes up and asks her if she's okay. We can see the bond growing there. And there's this group of core characters. These are definitely the more sympathetic ones. Marco's kind of on his own because he's the sort of the rich, not rich because he's from the slums, but his entire family go through. So the way he's acting feels like he's a rich boy.
He acts entitled, like he should be there already, essentially.
It's just genetics. Of course I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And then you have Raphael and Joanna, who she's made a weird alliance with him because she thinks, well, I'll tell on him about his his fake registry if he betrays me, and that sets up. So it sets up sort of the key players for the episodes. Obviously, the biggest thing is it sets up that the main character's a mole, and she's here to try and get further to take this company down, to take the offshore system down.
Yeah.
Good first episode. Set up a lot of things. Very, very, very concise. I don't feel like there was any time wasted. I feel like everything. So it's even simple things as Ezekiel watching the process, the various stages on his monitor with all the different people. I'd argue, how can he actually pay attention to any of it? Because he has 20 video feeds at the one time.
I guess he just flicks between them all.
Yeah, but it comes up when someone gets through, their face comes up, and he knows, okay, that's one that's advanced and all that. But actually, before we finish, I did want to mention, they know Raphael cheats, and. Yeah. Alina even points out, wait, he cheated, he took that other person's cube. And Ezekiel just smiles and says, you won't understand this yet. It's they're looking for more than just, cheating's okay at this point, for whatever reason. It's about psychology as much about anything else.
Yeah, it's as much about, their attitude as it is to actually completing the tasks.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this progresses throughout the season. But they've set up all the different things, we've got this unique world, and it looks gorgeous. So we'll be reviewing all the rest of the episodes, as I said, over the weekend. You should expect a couple more later on Friday today. There'll be several going up tomorrow on Saturday, and then probably the last couple on Sunday. So thank you very much, guys. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below if you've watched it. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. We'll see you next time, guys.